So, what is a story about? A story is about a character, an exploration, a scathing commentary on modern society. Um, a story is about all of these things, and there are so many other possibilities also as to what a story is. But before everything else, at its very core, a story is about a problem. So, a story is about a problem, and as problems become more complicated, the tension of a story rises. When steps towards resolving the problem are made, the tension falls until another complication is added. And tension and problems are intertwined with the pacing of your story. A frequent critique that we give to stories that come into us that we decide not to accept is that the story has no sense of tension. And this is, I'm not quite sure why. There's probably a few different reasons. This is a problem that is particularly noticeable with young writers, with people just getting started, but it happens to everyone. That there's no sense of tension. People tend to back away from the conflict, um, and in doing so, the pacing never comes together. So something you should always look for when you write a story is the sense of tension between a character and a situation, between a character and a character, or between the overarching themes. And tension and conflict are not necessarily the same. If you think about it in physics terms, conflict is kinetic energy, it is actionable, and tension is potential, it's the build-up. And conflict comes towards the end of a story, and tension develops throughout. And most stories will come in waves where you build up the tension and then you release it a bit, and then you build up a bit more, and then you release it a bit. You never let it come down to zero until the final conflict and resolution. And how you maintain and control the sense of tension in your story, again, is super integral to the pacing. And often stories that don't feel right in pacing come across that way from a failure to let the tension build and rise. So, story is about a problem first. Once you've decided the initial conflict, complicate it. Make something go wrong. And this builds tension. And the traditional way that you make tension in a story is you take the protagonist unwillingly through whatever journey they're going through. And the story only ends when the character transforms and goes from unwilling to willing. And as long as the character is unwilling, the problems keep mounting, even if they get solved a little bit. And here are a few ways you can build tension throughout. You can use limiting language in your protagonist. If you use language like, I have to, I should, I can't, I don't want to, this creates tension. This limits your character's ability to solve the problem. When you switch from I can't to I can, or I don't have to, I want to kind of language, that's resolving the problem that is taking your character through the transition. You can hurt the hero, and you can withhold information. There's something the character knows that the reader doesn't, or there's something that the reader knows that the character doesn't. Be careful with this. This should be used sparingly, but it is a mechanism you can use to kind of build tension. And of course, there's the ticking clock, which is anything, a literal ticking clock or not a literal ticking clock, that adds temporal pressure to the situation that's going on. And so if Bernard doesn't sort himself out, his partner will leave him. Or if the scroll isn't delivered to the robotic overlord, then war will be declared. If the ship's engines aren't fixed, then the medicine on board will expire. Doesn't have to be big scale, doesn't have to be universal changing. But these are all kinds of things that will create tension, put pressure, and allow you to build up the story. And the first time any character tries to solve a problem, it's not going to succeed by a matter of course. The first time is never the charm. If it is, then the story is ended. We don't have any tension, and the story doesn't have any real sense of pace. So, why is it that the first time people try to solve a problem, it doesn't work? There's a bunch of different options. The characters could be exposed to misinformation. They lose their lead, they get the wrong information. The character isn't blank enough, isn't fast enough, smart enough, prepared enough. They try and they simply fail. A simple problem gets complicated. A child walks in the way of a sniper. The problem just gets worse. So each of these is an opportunity to strengthen your story and to build up the pace, the tension, and the pressure that will propel your reader from sentence to sentence, from paragraph to paragraph, from scene to scene.